Alright, so it's nearly the end of October 2024, and this video is going to be all about the interior with the exception of the doors. So this has been filmed over a number of months. I've probably started in March preparing the interior, so there's footage that dates back to then. We started off, actually, one of the very first things that I did when I got the car was I had two of these lower crash pads and I wanted to get one of them installed early on. I also bought a polishing wheel and I wanted to have a crack at polishing this piece of stainless steel trim, or stainless strip, I should say. So that was one of the first things that I polished, and I just wanted to install it. We installed the seats at the very end and we rebuilt the seats in a separate episode, but we went ahead, installed these rub strips on the carpets, all the belts as well, rear parcel shelf and the rear belts. But with these rear belts, they were heavily faded. I initially tried to dye them with RIT. There's the real colour. You see how it's been sitting in the sun and really bleached. So what you're seeing there is the result of initially RIT, which didn't work, and then finishing it off with some vinyl dye. Some vinyl paint. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this journey as we prepare the interior of the Clubman GT. So I just did a trial fit of this yesterday after polishing it, just to get a feel for how it all assembles. And this trim actually locks this crash pad on. Crash pad's screwed on in a few other locations, like down here and here, but primarily it's held on by these little clips. They clip onto the edge of this vinyl pad, and you wrap this pad around the original lower shelf and push them on, and then this trim will clip on top of this. And I think what that trim will do is actually press down on that arm there and then further compress this clip so it really locks in the vinyl trim to the lower shelf. So that bit goes underside. Alright, that looks good on that side. I can't see that improving anymore. There we go. So we've got the two belts. These are for the parcel shelf. That's for the buckle, and this is for the shoulder strap to go down low as well. So I've got everything except I'm missing one of these spaces, so I'll have to get one later. I've got the bolt and everything and the spring washer, but yeah, just missing that spacer. So we'll go ahead and install these anyway, get them out of the way. This should just come straight out. There we go. So I'll get that out of the way. Just put that there for the moment. And we'll go ahead and fit these belts. I'll have to mark the holes just on the back of this new card. Alright, marked. Thank God that didn't split. Whew. Now this one. Alright, I'm missing one of the spaces for this bolt here for the lower attach point, so I'll just have to double it up with some washers at the moment. For any mini work, I'd advise get one of these little units. These little ratchets are unbelievable, they get into so many places. So I got those bolts in as well, either side. One's on the top with the cover, so we'll reinstall the seat. Also, the other item on the GT, might have mentioned it before, but there's the bleed, or the little valve for the air ventilation for the SU fuel pump. So on the other side of this there'll be a hose that's connected to the fuel pump. So that hole there and that little plug there is unique to the GTs. For the door check strap, there's a plate that goes on the door, and it's just a piece of plate about the same thickness as this stainless. You can't get them anymore. Like if you buy a door check strap kit, you now get this little plate, which is wrong. So I'm going to make one up out of this piece here. Alright, there's the finished product. Pretty close to the original and in stainless. I'll just give this a final tidy up around the edges again and then we'll install it. Next up, we've got the felt and underlay. So we'll go ahead and install this now and get it out of the way. It'll tidy up the inside of the car at least a bit and get this out of the way in the garage. The only thing I'm missing at the moment is one of these pieces, which goes around the seal. I thought I had it with the car, but I don't. So I think I'm going to have to try to just get a bit of carpet. I'll buy a piece and just replicate this design. I'll put this edging on there. I have to buy some of this edging, I guess. You can get that pretty much anywhere. It's got this Velcro stitched down the bottom. I don't know how that joins up at the moment, if that's meant to be there. So we'll take a look a bit later. So we'll install that a little bit later on. But we've at least got the felt underlay, or whatever it is. It's like a bit of a wool mix. Front and back, and all the various pieces. We'll start ahead with gluing on parts around the wheel well, and then work our way towards the back. We've got these extra pieces as well, and I figured out why there were some marks on the inside of the car, and I'll just show you what I mean. There were some pen marks with a red pen, so you can see there. So he marked up with a red texture where the Velcro is going to go. I've gone ahead and glued that stuff down, but I'll glue these pieces on the back of the car, but they just fell off. We'll put that piece on a bit later though. I've gone ahead already and bonded this back down with a bit of glue. Oh, it's lifting up here as well. I'll have to treat that too. Yeah, this is the inside. I've just given it a quick tidy up. We'll just give it a final vacuum, make sure there's no washers and screws and whatnot just sitting on the ground there. Another thing on the GT that I think not all the Minis had were the press snaps, which are welded into the frame. So there's one there and also a press snap here and on the other side. And so I went ahead and I bought the little fittings that attach into the carpet, so the carpet will actually click in here and there, 4 sides. I think that's it. Yeah, just 4 sides. Yeah, so I'm not sure if this Velcro is original. I don't know if that's all original, that. He may have bonded that in. Well, it might be, but yeah, I'll just get the carpet started anyway. It'd be good to start at least on the wheel wells today. Get the carpet mounted onto there and on the rear firewall. All right, we'll get started. So we've packed the wadding or the felt bush into the steering column now. We just got to bring this back down and this will situate in the inner side of that bush. I'll have to try again. It got jammed too far up. So we want it to try to sit right in there. There's another bush inside here, a plastic one. Looks rather intact. So we're going to leave this one installed. What I'll do is I might put some cable ties on this to get it in shape, and then we'll slowly feed it in and remove a cable tie at a time. Alright, it seems to be working. I've got a little bit in now. If I could just turn it back and forth, it's slowly feeding in. Get this cable tie off. Alright, it's packed in. I'll just give it a bit of a tap. Just a little bit backwards now. Alright, so I've pulled it back apart. I forgot to coat the inner bush here with some grease, so I've just used some lithium based grease. I've taken this back out and I've soaked it in some oil actually. So we'll reinstall it again. Alright, so it's rather oily now. I'll have to tidy this up. We don't want it to attract dust and debris. It's going in a lot easier now, but yeah. It's oozing out the oil that I soaked it in. Maybe that's a good thing. It was rather stiff when I first put it in. Give it a hit. There. So the bush is fully in. It's seated somewhere in between here and here. Obviously I have to tap this back, it's not going to be that far up. Little wipe down. It's a little bit of marking on this shaft, but most of it's not really visible when it's in the car. Can touch that up a bit later. So yeah, there we go, that's turning a lot better now. A lot smoother action. Yep. Alright, so we'll put this in the car. We'll have to set this up a bit later. We'll just put it in for now. We don't know the height of this. They call it a cam. Not too sure if I'm going to need to make a larger diameter hole there. I should have also mentioned that this GT has the rectangular pedals, whereas the Clubman's later on they had the diamond shaped pedals. So this is a different pedal box to, I think, maybe later GTs and just the standard Clubman onwards, the S's, LS's, etc. So this was the last of this style pedal box. We've installed the stalk now, and I've set this up so this little cam will reset the indicator, so it works pretty good. There we go. On the 71 GT, there's no ignition here on the indicator switch, it's just on the center console. And we've got a lowering bracket here on this steering wheel. There's the original bracket, but it's been dropped down. I've temporarily installed these bolts here, but it actually provides a pretty good angle. So this must have been on the car from the previous owner, because also when I installed this wheel, where the spline is on the steering rack, it just gave the appropriate angle for this drop down. So we'll leave all that as is. We'll get rid of this tape, tie that up and fit the center console. We've just temporarily installed a steering wheel for now. I won't be using this. I'm going to go back to the original Leyland bus size wheel. Yeah, this is just good enough for the means to an end. It's not bolted down or anything. I don't have all the screws as well. And the boss that I've got on this doesn't match the hole location for this particular wheel, which is a Mountie. We could, of course, get the other boss and fit one of these later. But yeah, it's coming together. We've got the pedals installed. We've finished the carpet. Now we'll just install this shroud. Right, so I got these clips for the carpet, the press snaps, female sides. It comes with male sides as well. But I want to try to match that up against this inbuilt one here. So it's just one of these. I haven't done this before. I'll just give it a go. Doing this, I'll probably struggle to get it back off. All right, that clicks in nice. Right, so I've got to try to match this up. This ring will go through the top of the carpet, and then the teeth will go through this. So let's give it a go. Just want to get this lined up perfectly. Alright, need to be pretty patient with this. It's hard to get the teeth to poke through very far. Alright, well, that went better than I expected, so it's nice and firm on there now. Just give these a final bend. Alright, let's see if that lines up. There. Alright, so that's clicked in. I wanted to try to get this right in the corner. I don't know if that's good enough, but I'll be happy with that. So there's one ring. I'll work on the other ring down here now, and I'll get them done. Alright, I picked this carpet up for about 40 bucks. It's just a 1 meter strip. Let's have a look. Oh, slightly different colour. Alright, well, we'll make a template out of it anyway. Okay. Looks pretty good. There we go. I'll just cut these curves with the scissors. All right. So I've got my carpet piece cut out now for the side sills. I've got to put the webbing around the side here and here. I've went ahead and bought some webbing and some thread. I'm not a sewer, but I do have a sewing machine, so I'm going to attempt to put the webbing on this now. Next up, we'll install the carpets on the side skirts. I've made 2 new ones based on the original, so they're just reversed. We've put the webbing on the sides. It's not that great, but I'll tidy it up once we bond it in. So yeah, we'll apply the glue now and stick these on the sides of the car. So where we've put the press studs, this cup is going to tuck in either side of it, but we have to just do a bit of a cutout so it doesn't interfere with where the press studs go. So I've marked that up and we'll cut that out and then do another trial fit. Alright, so I have to take a little bit more off. So I'll just take a little bit more off there so we can tuck it around underneath that press snap. That press snap is still visible now. We'll be able to click that down. And on this side here, it's just visible, but it'll be good enough to click the carpet back down on top. So I'll apply the glue now on this and we'll bond it into place. So when we glue it on, we're going to lose the hole locations. So I've just put a little bit of tape here to mark this seat belt hole, and just this one here for where this rivet's going to go for when we put the tread plate on. So at least we can kind of feel where we have to cut the hole in the carpet after we do the installation. So I've got that glued in. Again, kick plate will go on top here. I've marked up where one of the inserts is, one of the rivet holes for the kick plate, and also marked up where the seatbelt attach point is. So we'll cut them out a bit later. That's looking good. Alright, just temporarily sitting in the seat here. It's not bolted down, but we've got the brackets all painted up. We've done a satin black finish with a couple of clear coats as well. So they'll sit here on the cross member under the seat. Unfortunately, I don't have any of the proper screws for it, which is a 1/4 inch UNF. I'll have to get a couple of them when I can get to my local bolt supplier. But in the meantime, I had a couple of smaller ones here. They're probably 3/4 inch. So we'll just temporarily install these, and I think I'll just have to start taking notes now because I'm running short on a lot of fasteners. So I'm just getting by with whatever I've got at the moment until I can put a big list together. So there we have it. We've got the two seats in. This one's just a flip forward seat as well. It's actually quite easy to do. I actually like it better than the more modern style. But of course it was banned with the ADRs. So we may not keep this for too long. The backrest of it, the back cover of this is in not bad condition. There's only one little scratch just here. Overall in pretty good condition. Got the key ignition just down there. We've just left it off for the moment. Try not to crush that. So next up, we're going to put the pads on the carpet. Got the kit. So the pads are going to go down around here. They're just the carpet protectors. So they'll be fitted a bit later. And I've actually gone and removed this lying bracket. I don't know, I wasn't a fan of this at all. I could barely get in. I've got the seat all the way at the back. and it was just down on my knees, even this little sport steering wheel, and I want to put the original wheel back on, so I've gone and loosened up the steering, the steering unit, and just pivoted this up. Got to tighten that back down soon, but yeah, this is a much better angle, and this is what I got on the other car, so I'm comfortable with that position. So yeah, job done. We'll fit this equipment a bit later, this wiring, onto the center console, but we'll leave it for now. So we got these plastic carpet strips from Mini Spares. We're just going to go and sit below directly the frame of the seat on the rear carpet section. I haven't installed these before, I'm not too sure how to go about this. I'll have a look. See that there's some little screws in here. Oh, little rivets. Alright, so they're just going to punch through, I guess. And then you splay them out on the other side. Gonna have to make bigger holes in this so they can actually fit through. Right, so the holes are a bit larger, so we can poke these little rivets through now. I'll just put these on already, and we'll poke them through the carpet and then splay them out on the other side. Okay, we've got two sets now, we just have to work out where they're going to sit. So these carpet protectors have become a real struggle. I'm struggling to install these. They're a bifurcated rivet or a split leg rivet, and yeah, you've got to hammer the legs flat from the other side, but they're a real struggle. So what I'm going to do is I've got to redo this one, but also there's a curved one, and the curved one's deliberately curved. They've just bent another one of the flat ones, but the curved one's going to go over there and help the seat legs channel into that curve when you slide it forward and aft. But what I'll do is I'll mark up where they exactly have to go, and then I'm just going to use a rivet to punch a hole through the carpet just carefully so I can mark up the holes, and then I'm going to I'll do the other side as well, and then I'll have to take the entire carpet out and then flip it over. And what I'll do is I've got a stainless steel plate which I made one of the brackets for the door strap out of, so I'll just put that on the underside of this rivet, so the rivet heads up against that, and then I'll just hammer it. The legs flat, I'll just use this tool. It's got a nice, well, it's a bit worn out now, but it will help split the legs and flatten down the rivet. So yeah, we'll try that from outside the car. It's far too hard to do inside the car, and as you can see, it just punches the carpet and the legs don't really split properly. There we go, it's not even in. So you can see the little legs, I'll have to flatten them and then try again. Alright, so here's the carpet out of the car, and I've just had to straighten these little legs. So what I did, I didn't do a good job the first time round and the leg split, so I just put a flathead in there and then just crush them back up with some vice grips so they're nice and flat. I'm going to try to install it in here now. So I'll put the plate under here. I may put a little bit of tape on these heads so they don't Oh no, I might just leave it. If they get scratched, then I'll just touch them back up with a bit of paint. But yeah, they're a black head, and probably when I put them on the metal, they're going to scratch. I think it's already scratched a bit. The leg just split, unfortunately. I got it flat, but I think when I've pried these back up, I've weakened them too much. So, yeah. These legs were probably not going to work now. I'll try the other two. Okay, it seems to be working. I might have just gotten lucky on those. Alright, so I might have gotten lucky with 3 of them out of 4. I'll have to get another one there. We'll buy more. There is a tool that you can actually get, like a die, that'll actually split the leg and make it curl back around like 180 degrees and then bite in. These aren't really long legs to begin with. I think they're not the right ones for this carpet. Like when you have a woven carpet, plus you factor in the thickness of the plastic, these just don't seem long enough. I'll show you the length of it. I think they could definitely be a lot longer and then really like enable you to spread them across the backside of the carpet. So yeah. Anyway, we'll do the curve one next. And I realize why this is curved now. It's curved because it actually goes on the carpet that extends up on the tunnel of the Mini. So yeah, it's deliberately curved to factor in that curvature of the carpet. So it's a good idea after all. I thought it was a bad idea why it's bent like that. But yeah, we'll fit another couple of these and try again. Well, these split leg rivets weren't so bad after all. I thought they might have been too short, but actually when you hammer them down and flatten them, they actually seem to stretch out a bit and they pull down on the plastic. So they actually turned out really good. I didn't have any dramas with the rest of them. They've all gone in pretty well. I am missing one now because I split one. We went off to a bad start snapping that one. But there are 3 others there, and yeah, look, I'll look to recover that later on. It's no big deal. But they're all in. I'll just show you. See how they split out. They seem to stretch. There's not much more I can do to lock that in. I was thinking about putting a little bit of carpet glue, but I really don't think it's going to help much, to be honest. If anything, you'd want to put the carpet glue under the carpet. It's not the best carpets. It's not a GT carpet. The Tragics will know the difference between a GT installed carpet and just a aftermarket product. But look, it'll do for now. I don't know who can actually supply a GT cut carpet. It's going to be probably a custom made thing. Some of the unique differences between this and a GT carpet is that where the remote gearbox tunnel goes under the car. There's a seam that runs from basically the gear stick all the way up to the firewall on both sides. That's like a separate piece of carpet just right on top of the tunnel. Other differences are there's little toe pads just on the sides of the car, sides of the interior, so like especially for the driver. The accelerator pedal is right up hard against the wheel well, so there's a little triangular toe guard there. I don't have that on mine. And other little variations. However, my one did have the press snaps that were in the floor, so I did at least install these to click in. They're matched. There's split line, there's cuts here, so we can feed this through to the Britax seatbelt buckle system. And then this obviously goes behind the rear seat. So anyway, that's done now. This was the last major straw with the carpet to complete. I've installed the kick strips this afternoon, or the step plates, and yep, so we've riveted those in, and now we've just done this. We've done an adjustment on the steering column as well, because I changed the angle. We did have the lowering brackets, but I've taken them off, so I've had to tilt the steering column back up. So the steering rack has had to pivot to compensate for that, so there's no preload on the steering rack, on the spline in particular. So we've done that. The carpet's down. This is the last piece. I'm going to go get the vacuum now, the household vacuum, and give this a couple of runs, and then we'll install it. Alright, so we've pretty much completed the bulk of the interior that we wanted to do, which was namely the carpets and the seats and the belts. We've put the underlay in, we've fitted the door straps on either side now, put the kick plate on and finish off the rubber seal around the door frame. I've still got to put the kick plate on the side here on the door pockets and finish off the instrument panel. Haven't done the cutout yet for the gearbox, but we've fitted the handbrake and tightened that properly, and then installed the Britax twin lock buckle system and cut that through the carpet, installed that, and installed the rear belts up on the parcel shelf. Had to just drill the holes out of that decorative panel and enlarging them a bit for the bolt size. So I fitted them and also the protectors. Now, as I said before, these belts were pretty faded, and we tried the RIT and it didn't work, and then we went to the vinyl paint, which came out really well, and they were initially pretty stiff, but they've actually softened up. And anyway, I'm really happy with the color. Now they've came out, they were practically white just on the top of the seat there. We fitted the buckles as well, and special thanks to Stuart on Ausmini, who helped me out. He found me the appropriate spacer, so I've just put that there. I've got to install that spacer over on the right hand side buckle. I've just got some washers in there in the meantime. So I'm pretty happy with this. The carpet is not the proper layout for the GTs, but it is a nice carpet kit, and he got these, I think, custom made. He wanted to have these foot pads handed, so the profiles are handed on one side. You'll see a seam on the passenger side, which is the mirror of the driver's side, so that's pretty nice. The pedals are installed. I've connected these two to the master cylinders, attached the accelerator pedal. We did a little cutout there for the steering column and readjusted the column to be at the original height. We removed the lowering bracket, and yeah, I removed the heater, which I'll have to reinstall that later once I assemble it a little bit more completely. I'm just trying to install the cables now outside of the car, and I may even install the hoses and just feed them through to the engine bay. But for now, we've had them removed. We've still got to sort out the wiring here. I've had a brief look, but I'm still not too sure how this wires up, and some of the wires need to get repaired as well, so that'll be a side project. There's the ignition switch on the center console there. And yeah, I've removed the sport steering wheel for the moment, the Mountie. Doing another video on that shortly, how I'm restoring an old Leyland original style wheel. So anyway, I'm pretty happy with the result. We'll leave it there, and yeah, I'll just show you some final footage of the interior. And those of you who know your Minis well might have realised that these are not the proper front seat belts. See the webbing, it's a polyester webbing, a more modern one. But these are from a later Mini. I bought these because they were in really good condition, no damage. The front seat belts that came with the GT are heavily damaged. I just couldn't put them in the car. They're going to have to get restored. So when I get around to it, I'll probably get them re-webbed. And in the meantime, just use these more modern polyester belts just for the front seats, since we're going to drive this quite often if we can. So they're the same dimension and everything to the original belts, just in a different material, which I believe is polyester, as opposed to the older ones, which have a different pattern, and I think that they were nylon.